has already been 10 episodes. Some would say it's just 10 episodes, but I am celebrating in a very small way. Still, I'm eating cakes, I'm drinking drinks, and I've read 4 books. So let's go see what they were. First book we have Alchemy of Secrets. And it was a damn good book. I would classify it as even a thriller in some ways, or mystery. But it's about a young woman who goes to college, and she's taking classes of folklore, or she has a professor who seems to have a way of making the folklore stories come for her to life, or she lives by them, or she hopes that they are true, and she's in search if they truly are, as in magic. But with it comes also a dangerous road that she is literally thrust into to uncover. And boy oh boy, does time go. Almost instantly, once you start to read the book, it's just something after another comes, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of dark mystery, some blood too, but the race against the clock is fully on. Basically, she gets a time of death. She finds that one of the folklores, that there is a man, a mythical man, that can tell you the time of your death. And once she finds out what hers is, which is a little bit sooner than I think she might have expected, what I think she thought in the beginning was a fun little adventure. Let's see, haha, if I will die in 50 years. Not exactly 50 years that she was given. But with the death sentence, or the time of death, comes also a chance to either postpone or push the potential death sentence, that she will definitely die. So she's in a hurry to find something that's called the chemical heart, which is kind of the essence, is the heart, literally the heart. Doesn't look like a heart maybe, but that keeps the magic alive. But with it can be also granted whatever other magical things the holder says or needs. But the heart, nobody knows where it is, nobody knows what it is, and that it's impossible to obtain. But she still goes for the hunt for that magical object, and I cannot say if she finds it or not. But like I said, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of unexpected happenings, and yet the book did not disappoint. Because of the stories, because of the way she believed, I also wanted to do something kind of out of the box cake. That's why the colors, that's why the texture, that's why the put together piece. I just needed it to feel magical. And I know that you cannot really see it, but this is, I will get back to what cake it is in a moment, but this is an orange latte. I called it the alchemical heart latte. But it needed to have this tinge of something weird, but yet exciting, that can feel, in a latte, dangerous. I put before in my coffees long time ago some orange juice, and I remembered the taste to be really strange, so I wanted to replicate it with the layers. And I think it goes really well with the story, because it is, first glance you think, oh, I'm just having a latte, a little bit of caffeine, you'll need it. certainly you do need it in this book, but then you drink it and you get this spike of tinginess. Your tongue starts to tingle. You're like, what is this now? But it works with the support, or I would say that the drink supports the cake, and this is the Alchemical's Heart cake. Now, bear with me. We have actually saffron honey mascarpone. I know what I said. It's saffron honey mascarpone inside. And when I did the batch, I tasted it. I did from the leftovers a little bowl, and I was just scooping and stuffing my face full of it because it was so damn good. I also have this dark chocolate almond crunch with some cornflakes inside because it needs to have this crunch. The brown butter sponge, and then we have mango curd because it needed to have this. Well, she was after a heart, so visually also there is kind of gold, like treasure, but mixed with the crunch, you don't know what it is. Also, where it is. But once you cut inside, hopefully it's inside the story. And with it, it just works. It's thrilling to eat this cake because you don't know what you're getting. It's really good. And with the latte, it's fucking fantastic. Next one is a pure classic, Pride and Prejudice. I'd seen the movies, never read the book until now, and there's just something so delightful and delicious in reading this different aged time. It was as if I was transported back in time. But the book follows the family of Bennets, and I think, well, you could say that mostly Elizabeth Bennet, and the dance between Mr. Darcy, but it also follows the rest of the family. So it was very refreshing to read the story, how it was really meant to be. Because the movies do make it out a little bit differently. They're more, how can I say, beautiful. The book was a little bit more, I wouldn't say rough around the edges, but something just stood out for me while I was reading it. It wasn't also like a palm to your soul. Not exactly. It, I don't know why I was thinking of this right now, but it was as if I don't know if I should even say. It was as if I was watching a hedgehog that belongs in the nature run across grass for some reason. Because it's just a timeless writing. It's witty and yet so smart. But it was really as if I felt I was there. But different times, aren't they? Different way the society works, different way women are perceived, men as well. I think there are times where I'm thinking, yep, I would like to be in an era where I would have to wear dresses and all I had to worry about was getting married and pop out kids. But I have to say, I do like the time and age that we are in now. The rights and more opportunities that women have, and that we are not just perceived as baby making machines. But that being said, there's just a different air around the men there that I appreciate too. Not to say that we don't have good men nowadays. it's just harder to find them, to see them, because of a lot of things, but that's another story. But with this, like I said, I really felt like I was there. I really felt like I was wearing dress and I was going out for a stroll, even though I like to walk daily or exercise, but it's just something different. Something really lovely about it. And like I said, it's a smart book. It's a witty and in some cases even fast because of the way that they speak and spew out words, and the way the different classes are also mixed together or not, then, because there is a big division between who is what and who is born to which family. But I made a Prembley cake and I made a Prembley tea. Now, the cake is with Earl Grey mascarpone. It had to be. It needed to have this tinge of, not melancholy necessarily, but not even sadness either, but just something lingering, something quiet, something colder, I think. But then I also had lemon curd inside, and there is strawberry compote and a vanilla sponge. It needed to have this conversation, these different tastes popping out, textures, because the strawberries are not squished, there are still pieces inside. And then it needed to look pretty, that maybe Elizabeth Bennet or someone else there would serve as their afternoon tea. And then I made this Prembley tea that's with warm milk, that also has Earl Grey. And then there is a little bit of like strawberry, not syrup, but I made like a strawberry, again, compote, but without the sugar. And there is a little bit of cinnamon. No, vanilla bean paste. Yes, no cinnamon. It was in another one. So, again, this lingering taste, and yet smooth, but not a tea that I would usually drink. It's from a different time. And then these tastes blending so well together, and yet you know what's what. You know which one belongs to which layer very distinctively. You just know. So it's also difficult to break out from someone's upbringing, the social circles that you're from, because it doesn't happen that much. But if you mix it really well, or sometimes the wrong pea falls into the wrong pod, it's all possible. And yet there's this beauty of language, of gestures, of the way that you communication is just, it's just beautiful. How was the book? If you've been thinking about traveling or where to go and are just tired of a plain old hotel rooms, then come visit us. We are residing in Estonia with 4 beautiful tree houses. It's among nature, birds, some crickets too, but it's beautiful, it's relaxing, and it's one of a kind. So come visit us, treehouseestonia.ee. That's treehouseestonia.ee. Let's check it out. Next up, Seek the Traitor's Son by Veronica Roth. She also wrote the Divergent series, and it was a damn good book. I'm waiting now for the next one, really. It was the first. Left with a cliffhanger. Good cliffhanger. Was not disappointed that it was a cliffhanger, which I was surprised because I don't like cliffhangers at all. But it talks about Elegy On, who is the Sword's daughter. So the Sword is sort of a commander of nation of Cedra. And on the opposite is Rava Vidar, who is also the daughter of the people of Talusar, which is another nation, and they are in war with one another. They are deeply, deeply divided. I have all the books today with so strange, in very different ways, that people belong to different clans, different worlds. It's someone against the other classes. You name it. So strange, and yet a weird, happy coincidence. But these two women are brought in together to, let's say, oracles who see the future. So they are the ones. Talusar people believe in the fever, and fever is holy. And once you get the fever, Cedra people call it infection, that it's a disease, a virus. But Talusar people say that it's a blessing, and about 50% of people survive it and gain powers or abilities, and 50% after you get the fever, you die, and it's either you wake up or you don't. So pretty bleak, isn't it? So depends in which way do you see it. Is it something to admire? Is it something to want to have or go through? Or are you one of like the Cedra people who believe that it is an infectious disease and should not be gone through because, well, it's not worth it and they don't want it? But everyone, since they turn certain age, I think it was in the teenage years, they have to go through the fever to then also find their place in the society. And Cedra people know that there are three possibilities, that it's either, or two possibilities, that it's either you see the past or you see the future. And also depending how gifted you are or what kind of abilities you obtain or then your body produces or gives you, then also how far back in the future do you see, or then how much you see, how far do you see in the past. And therefore also comes your importance and where you belong in Talusar. But these two women that are the opposite, believe in opposite things, they are brought together in front of these oracles, and the oracles tell them, both of them at the same time, that they are part of a prophecy. And depending on the questions that you will ask now, it determines the rest of your fate. But they are also connected by a man that both of them will fall in love with. And the man is kind of the key to either one wins the war or the other one loses the war. Which is a strange thing to say to Elegy On, because she is married and she does not want to love another man or have anything to do with the prophecy. Rava, however, takes it and believes after then the individual questionings, once it's broken out to them that they are part of the same destiny and yet very different outcomes for both of them and both of their nations, both of their people. They're taken separately into questioning, and then they can ask them more questions, and then they will also tell you whether your questions were the ones that took you on the winning path and that your people will win, or they didn't. But a lot happens there. There is love. There is also the man involved in a very well portrayed way. I didn't expect to like it so much, I think. And I think that's a big compliment because I didn't have any necessarily high hopes for this book. I thought it would be a nice read, but actually I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the world, the way it was built. What I also liked was how Veronica wrote about trauma. And a lot of authors they do bring it out, but it's overlooked very often. And I also get it. Your characters they have their mission, they have their purpose, and they need to move forward. And sometimes these human emotions, or whatever you want to call them, they can get in the way and can also make the writing more difficult. But it wasn't also that she lingered on it, but the way she portrayed it, it was really good. I really enjoyed reading this book, and I really want to read the next book. But with it also, the world was really different. Earth is not what it is now, at least in that book. It changed severely, like into the future that it took place. And I needed not a mechanical cake and a drink, but I needed something out of this world. It a little bit reminds me of Project Hail Mary, but that was a lot friendlier. This is not. Even though Project Hail Mary, there wasn't friendly elements out there, and still Earth was in peril, and also Rocky's world. But this was a lot more. There was a lot more hardship, a lot more acceptance, a lot more twists and growing, and it was great. But I made this vanilla mint sponge. It needed to be something not normal, something, how do you explain, out of this earth? So I made a rosemary mascarpone. Taste wise, it's again unexpected. Pomegranate, this compoto curd, because it needed. This gore, and this something that pops out, danger, or whatever you would like to call, that just brings everything out that belongs into a story, into our lives, but yet it's darker, it's different. But under there is also a black sesame, white chocolate, like crunch, because the world was grainy, the world was harsh. It was not the same as it is now. And then I made a charcoal latte, what I call the Oracle's latte. Now, you might want to ask, what the hell is that? I will answer you that it's a latte that's done with activated charcoal, because it needed to feel out of this world, with a little bit of vanilla syrup and normal milk. It's still coffee. You need to survive in that world. But it just needed this different look, and yet this earthy taste, this subtle, grounded feeling, and now mixed with this awesome cake. I think I delivered. Listen, now I will tell you, I was literally cleaning yesterday, a massacre in my very own kitchen, because this cake was difficult for me to build. Really difficult, because the pomegranate, that's awfully pretty in color, is also awfully liquidy. And while I was building the cake with mascarpone and the second layer, and the second layer went on top. There was like I murdered someone in my very own kitchen, which I promise I didn't. It was just a cake. So you should have seen me with a lot of towels around midnight trying that it doesn't all disembowel onto my kitchen floors. And I also have to tell you that I did lick some from the kitchen counter because it was easier than screaming for help for my kids while they were sleeping, because I couldn't do it alone, which in the end I still did. And everything is clean. So it's a good cake and it's a good drink. And I will probably remember for the rest of my life how I made a pomegranade sauce, which was fun too. Next. Let's go to the next book. And last but not least, we have The Help. Now, I read it a long time ago. I did reread it again, but it's a book of courage. It's a book of 3 amazing women that come together, become unexpected friends, and go against the grain, I think. It's taking place in 1962, Jackson, Mississippi, and it's time where blacks versus whites, or there is a divide between the 2 colors. People are still seen by colors. I suppose in some ways still nowadays we are seen or defined by from where we are, but less so than it really used to be. So the blacks don't have almost any, they do have already rights, but they are severely divided between the whites, as in they work lower jobs, get lower pay, have lesser opportunities, and still in some ways, as they are not anymore considered slaves, I would believe that in some ways they still are slaves of the societal norms. But Miss Skeeter wants to find out what happened to her nanny, but with that also she wants or starts to see the truth of how the world really is divided, how it is unjust for some and perhaps so much more for others. And she doesn't stand by it, she doesn't like it. So she tries to approach a woman, Aileen, and who is a black person and works for home, has raised 17 kids as a nanny and doing the household chores, and it's not a great life. But I understand the apprehension why she also didn't take on the journey of actually talking about her experience of her life and how it really is, because it can be dangerous. But nonetheless, she finds the courage, wants justice in her own way, wants the people understand how it really feels to be in her shoes. And thus also Minnie comes along and they write a strong book. What I liked about the story was, even though that they told their stories and they were after justice, I don't think that they ever exaggerated or they needed to web up lies to be taken more seriously, because already the truth was either gruesome enough or it was enough to really showcase how perhaps the righteous white people believe that they've already are doing enough or giving enough, when in fact they are in some ways the superior, can't say species now, can I? Because it doesn't matter what your skin color is, we're still human, we're still the same species, but somehow it comes out that it feels like we are. But with that being said, I did I did a pie. I felt like it had to be a pie, so I did a brown butter pecan and peach pie. And why I did that was because I needed the difference of the texture, but the heart of the story was still strong friendship, and it still felt warm. Even though there were cold elements, there was this underlying feeling of being together or rallying together and carrying one another, the lower class then, right, with Skeeter. And then, but everything is connected as a society, but different layers, right? I needed the crunch from the pecans, and I needed the softness from the peach, but the subtle, this warm taste. And then the pie keeping it all together. Now, the drink. I did a simple warm milk with a little bit of nutmeg, with a little bit of cinnamon, and I just felt like it needed to wrap around the food itself. I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't necessarily a warm hug, but there was warmth, there was courage, and in the end there was also justice. Yeah, I waited for this my whole day. I made it this morning. Could be still a little bit more warm, but my god, it gives the feeling. And then with the warm milk and the cinnamon, bringing out the little nudges of the difference, and the nutmeg of different class. Something snatching along the lines, but the truth still tries to come out. I live for this. This is so good. But these have been the books of this week. I just want to keep eating this, and I will. But next week, there will be some bigger sagas, some interesting reads, and some very controversial ones as well. Let's see what next week's taste will be like. Until next time.